See, guys, today's a new day for me. I'm much happier in regards to some extents. I'm happy in some way for myself. So I just drank coffee, I drank caffeine, and I had some cigarettes. The thing is that I'm ready to quit cigarettes and quit caffeine for good. But I just want to finish my coffee and I want to finish another cigarette for myself and stuff like that before I quit. The thing is that you must understand something that my mom doesn't let me be. I mean, she doesn't want me to be a vegan. Do you understand? And the thing is that with my mom, that if I say I want to be vegan and then I try to be a vegan, she's gonna get angry. Do you understand? She gets angry at me. And like for example, if I had a kid, if I had a kid, she would always want that kid to eat just like her, like to eat meat and to be unkind in the world. So my mom's very unkind, and you must understand that she's not a kind person. You understand? And my dad's not a kind person as well. I mean, you understand, to the extent that they kill animals. But also, I've been very unkind to animals because recently I've been eating meat and stuff like that. But I've been disciplining myself in some way as well to stay away from McDonald's and to stay away from meat in some kind of way. The thing is that now, since I'm understanding how people are and how time is flying very quickly, I'm understanding exactly what to do and how to do it because I have the wisdom. And now all I have to say to my mum is just let me be and let me eat the way I want to eat. Do you understand? And now she may get angry, but then she's going to understand something. She's going to understand that it's my life. I mean, you have to understand you cannot control my way of life. Do you understand? I mean, the only thing that is going to stop me is myself. I promise you, nothing else can stop me except for me. So, what I have to do is I have to oblige through my habits in a better way, and I have to focus upon a better way of life for myself. So, that means always eating vegan, making sure that I'm getting the foods I need. And now, my mum is not willing, maybe. I promise you, I don't think she's willing to go to the shops every single day for myself to get something to eat for myself. My mum's more the type of woman where I shop for the week. I mean, you understand? She wants me to shop for the week and stuff like that. So it's more that I have to understand my mum's point of view, but I understand exactly what she's saying and what she's wants to do for me. The thing is that if I shut up and if I just shut my mouth, I promise you she's gonna be happy. Do you understand? But that means that somewhere in me, I understand Jesus Christ says, just let it be. So Jesus Christ says, for that situation, for me to just stand up on my own ground and just tell her that exactly, in terms of tell her exactly what I want out of life and just let it be like that because I'm not afraid to confront my mom. But I don't want to argue with her. Do you understand? I don't want to get into an argument with her. And now I'm understanding sooner or later, my mom's going to strike up an argument with me. And that's how my mum is. I mean, she always wants it her way of life. I mean, she wants me to live her way of life. She doesn't want me to live my way of life. Do you understand? So the thing is that my mum is trying to control me through words. But you can never control me through words. And the thing is that only I have to allow that to happen. I have to allow it to happen. And I must not cause myself resentment over anything. So if I start eating meat, it's not because of anyone but me. You understand? It's my choice. You understand? But the thing is that it's more how I'm just going to try to eat vegan as much as possible. And I'm going to try to understand that it's much more that my mom doesn't understand what I eat. And she thinks that she knows it all. I mean, you understand? So the thing is that it's more how I have a certain discipline for my life. And she doesn't understand that discipline. She doesn't understand what a vegan has to go through to be a vegan. And she doesn't understand that information. And the thing is that I have to point out that information to her so that she understands exactly what I want to do in my life. So what I do is I write her a message. I say, please make me be a vegan. And I just say, Mum, listen to me. I want to be a vegan. And I just write it to her in a message so that I don't have to listen to her arguments in life. So she may say, Danny, do what you want, whatever, whatever. But the thing is that I want to be a vegan for myself. And I'm going to write that message to her in terms of WhatsApp. And I'm just going to write a massive message to her. And I'm going to say, this is this, this is this, this is this, and this is how it's going to be. And this is how I need my life to be. But are you willing to do this for me and stuff like that? And I want to see her thoughts on that. I want to see her thoughts about life. And now she doesn't want to talk to me about veganism and stuff like that. And now I'm not trying to control anybody, but my mum every single day puts me down, and she puts me down to the point where when I speak something, she thinks she knows better. You understand? She thinks that she knows better than me. And when I say that I'm a life coach or something like that, she starts laughing. Do you understand? I mean, she doesn't believe in me. Do you understand? She doesn't believe in my way of life. And now, when I asked her a question, what do you think about my life coaching? She just said, I mean, is that what you want to do? I said, yeah. And now, for me to open up a business somewhere online and locally where I can coach people and get some money from that, apparently it's more that I do it for free. I do all life coaching stuff for free because it's the most affordable way for me. But I understand that how much of a business I can make from life coaching. And I can always teach people this, but the thing is that people are unwilling to give me the money that I deserve for my life coaching. So what I'm doing now is I'm receiving money from the government, and that way I'm doing my work for free, and I'm receiving money from the government. You understand? And that's like the universe is paying me to do my job. So I'm financially free to some degree right now, and you have to understand that it's much more how I'm using the government's money to my advantage, and I'm helping myself with that money to live life, for example. But I understand that I cannot keep up with that trend for long. And the thing is that I eventually have to go out into the workplace, and I have to go and make my own money at some point so that I can fend for myself in a way that I can have a family for myself. Because you have to understand, who wants to be around a person who has no work in life? So the thing is that I always have work to do. I always have some type of work to do in my life. But the thing is that I have to express it. And the thing is that if I don't express my thoughts out there into the world as much as possible, then I'm not really living life to the fullest. You understand? So the thing is that the only person that understands me is you. You have to understand that people who are listening to this audio program right now are the people that I do this work for. And it's much more that those people who never talk back to me are the ones that understand me. So that's like someone like you, for example. You're not talking back to me. You're just listening into the conversation with myself right here. So the thing is that you guys truly understand me because you guys are willing to listen. But if I was to talk to my mum about this, I'm pretty sure she'll tell me to shut the fuck up. I'm pretty sure she'll tell me, she'll laugh at me, and she'll try to put me down in terms of words like saying that I don't know anything and stuff like that. And now I don't know anything. I understand that. I understand that I know nothing in this lifetime. But the thing is that I have wisdom. And now because I have wisdom, I understand I can teach something based on my wisdom. And everyone can teach you something about life. But the thing is that you have to go out there and you have to perform at your best every single day. And that's the thing where I've been failing at. I've been failing at my best version. And why is that? I understand because I've been fearing life. And now I've been in an illusion. I've been delusional. Do you understand? I've been making things up for myself like that I fear life or something like that. But I don't fear life. I don't feel that the mind is always fearing life. Do you understand? I promise you. The thing is that it wasn't my obligation for me to succeed. And the thing is that I understand that I didn't want to succeed. And the thing is that is the reason why. Do you understand? Because my will just puts me back into cigarettes and caffeine, for example. And the thing is that I go one way and then I go another way. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that you cannot keep going back and forth with your life. But what you can do is explain your story every single day. And the thing is that when I was younger, and you have to understand, I'm always younger as I grow much more in age. I'm always growing younger in terms of wisdom. I understand my wisdom is always young. I understand my words are always young. I understand my imagination is always young. And understand I have some young aspects to me. But now my body, I understand my body is like something that is dying. And you have to understand my body's dying, but I'm staying here forever in terms of words. And now that's the thing about me. I can teach you the spiritual way. I can teach you how to live life even when you're not here. You understand? And the thing is that lots of things lots of things have happened in my life that I want to teach you about. And the thing is that the only way I can express myself is through YouTube right now, as much as possible. Upload as much as possible every single day. Uploading content online is my job. You understand? And that's what I need to do. And my mum laughs at that. I mean, she believes that's not a job. I mean, she believes that's a hobby. I mean, you're saying, but my hobby is my job. I mean, that's what I really do. And she doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand that I do words every single day. And she doesn't understand my rich kind of thinking, that I have rich type of thinking in my life. And she'll laugh at me for that. You understand? And the thing is that she doesn't understand that when I say to her I'm a spiritual teacher, she just laughs at that. I mean, you have to understand that she doesn't think that I'm anything in life. You understand? She just says, "You're my son," and that's it. I mean, you understand? She is preconceived to the notion that she knows everything. You understand? She doesn't know. I mean, you understand? My mom doesn't know anything about life, and that's why she never teaches anything about life. But she teaches me a lot of things about her life. Do you understand? And then from that point of view, I can teach you. I mean, she teaches me basing it on her information of what's good about her and what's bad about her. And then I teach you guys about that as well. You know, so what my mum passes on in terms of information to me, I pass it on to you guys. Do you understand? So, for example, I record my mum over the phone from these days on because I want to upload it to YouTube so you guys understand exactly what's happening. And now you must understand that, for example, when your parents don't allow you to do something, it's more they're trying to control you. Do you understand? So it's more how my mum has to accept that I want to be a vegan in my life. And if she doesn't let me be a vegan, I promise you that then an argument will set up in life. I promise you, then an argument happens, and then she blames me for the argument. You understand? And the thing is that she doesn't understand to let me be. She doesn't understand to let me control my decisions for myself. You understand? She wants to control me. I mean, she wants to put her attitude on me and stuff like that. And I have no worries about that. I allow everything to happen. But if the universe doesn't allow you to do the things that you want to do in life, then just do what the universe wants you to do. You understand? So if the universe doesn't allow you to be a vegan, then just allow it to happen and just be a non-vegan. You understand? But I understand that the universe is telling me now that the universe wants me to do better, but doesn't want me to be a vegan. You understand? Because that's what God's saying. I mean, you understand? Now, God is always in everything, I understand. But the thing is that God wants me to be a vegan, but God also doesn't want me to be a vegan. And now, why do I speak about God this way? I promise you, because my mum is also some kind of action or some kind of persuasion in the universe. You know, and she's vibrating her life to me. And the thing is that she doesn't want to argue with me. So you must understand that when you understand conspiracy theories and when you understand everything about life, that God always allows everything to happen. And now God's always on your side. But the thing is that if you don't want to be a vegan, then that's your choice. Do you understand? But if you want to be a vegan and your parents don't do the necessary actions for you to be a vegan, then you have to understand to take responsibility and go to the shops yourself and ask your parents to make you go to the shops and to walk it to the shops or whatever to get yourself food daily so that you can go and grind and become something that you want to be. So there's information there that I understand that I need to learn from. You understand? So there's always information out there. But the thing is that recently I've been doing some music production in terms of learning from this guy. And it's so interesting. And what's so interesting about it is because I've been writing materials. And that's my happiness again. I understand I have a happiness there to watch other people do music production while I write my journal. And now I understand that rarely is anybody going to read my journal, for example. But the thing is that I teach a lot of things in there. And because I teach a lot of things in life, I understand that's how I prosper. And you have to understand how slow you can go through life and how you actually view your life in terms of different ways. And you have to lead yourself in words because words are everything. And you have to understand that God spoke this world into being alive. You understand? Approach God said everything first, and that's why it all exists because of the words. So you have to understand if you live in the words, you exist better and you'll be able to live better. So the reason for my audio program today is because I want to do better. I want to teach you things about life. And now many of my friends in the past that I used to have in my life, gave me experiences, and I'm grateful for those experiences because they've been in my life. They shaped me in some kind of way. I've learned from it, and I've learned from a lot of things, like, for example, Marco Petronievich and why he doesn't want to be my friend anymore, for example. And now he doesn't want to be my friend anymore because of the things that I've done in my life, like, for example, drugs and stuff like that. But the thing is that he doesn't understand that he's been doing drugs as well. And the thing is that he just has something against my information. Do you understand? He doesn't like my information to some degree. And he doesn't want me to be friends with Gloria Gage and stuff like that. And he doesn't want me to have friends. Do you understand? I mean, that's the thing about Marco Petrovic. The guy was my best friend. I mean, he was like one of my best friends. Do you understand? And I remember the Bebo days. I remember the Bebo days, and that was MySpace back then. And MySpace went out of business. Do you understand? But the thing is that I used to put him like in my top four friends and stuff like that in high school. And we were sitting in the back of the class laughing at other people. Like, we were so immature. I mean, we was just like laughing at our teacher and stuff like that. We're having a good time. But he was always smarter than me in high school. And now he was much more smarter than me in high school. But he wasn't the smartest kid in high school. Do you understand? He was never the SRS or something like that. He was never one of those people who was leading people in terms of the SRC and stuff like that. And now the SRC is something that stands for people who are grade leaders. In, like, for example, if you're in year 10, then you have 3 SRC members for that type of grade. And they just go out and put their thoughts into the world. And now these people are much more successful than the people who are not SRC. But if I went to high school today, I could be an SRC very easily. You understand? I can be an SRC. I can start year 7 again, and I can imagine being myself over there in year 7 and just learning. I mean, you understand, just doing things out of the ordinary every single day and just understanding people there and stuff like that. I realize how, I understand that if I started high school again, I understand I'd clog it. I'd be able to make an answer for myself and be able to get a scholarship for myself for university, and it will be quite easy for me to do so. And I understand that. And that's a good thing about life, that I can talk about that. I can talk, like, for example, that I can go university now. I can study something and I can excel at it really quickly if I really wanted to. I understand I can. But the thing is that I put myself in other trends. I put myself in a different environment. You understand? I understand my mum doesn't want me to go to university anymore. And the thing is, like, do I want to go to university? And now I understand I don't want to go to university, to be honest. I don't want to be someone who goes to university. And now, why is that? Because I understand it's not because of the information. I understand it's more because I have that information in me. I have all that teaching. I can teach people. I can do whatever you want me to do in words. I mean, I can do it. I mean, understand, whatever you want me to do in words, I can do it. I can learn information really quickly. I can communicate with people. I can be around other people and stuff like that. I can socialize with other people. You understand? I can hold my ground. I can talk for myself. I can public speak. I'm really happy in this kind of way. Do you understand? Because things in my life are working out. I mean, it's working out to some extent. And I love to express myself. And because I love to express myself, I understand these girls from the past. I promise you, they're going to one day reach my YouTube channel. I promise you, they're going to see my Instagram. And they're going to see, wow, Danny, I mean, Danny's doing good for himself. Do you understand? But the thing is that a lot of things went downhill in my life. And the things that went downhill in my life is because of the illegal drugs I was doing. And now you must understand that's the reason for my schizophrenia, for example. I was doing a lot of drugs. And now, if you even do a little bit of drugs, it's a lot of drugs, you understand? But the thing is that these days, you must understand, I'm staying off the drugs as much as possible. And the thing is that the attitude that I used to have in my high school days is very mature. I was very mature as a person. You understand? But if I repeated high school again, I'd be the most mature one there. You understand? I'd be very silent with the teachers. I'd be always looking for information. I'd probably even approach the teachers for some more information just to get to know them and stuff like that. But the thing is that I don't want to start high school again. I don't want to go high school again. I want to go into the work life much more these days. You understand? So why do I want to go into the work life much more than high school? Because you have to understand, you make money. I mean, you make money and you get yourself around other people in terms of other ways, and you get some information from that, and you become a manager or supervisor eventually, and you make your way up in terms of information. But I never want to be a laborer. I never want to be a laborer again. I deserve better than that. I understand it's much more about how I can learn information very quickly in my life. I can learn whatever I want to learn. I can learn it very quickly because I'm a very good listener. And because I'm a very good listener, I'm very open-minded to what I want to learn. Do you understand? Because anything that wants to teach me in life, I can learn. I mean, I can learn really quickly. But I have to seek that information out. And now that's the thing about real estate and all types of information out there is you have to approach it in a way that you're an investor and you have to go for it alone. You have to understand that you have to walk that path alone. And maybe you find something interesting. I mean, maybe you find something that's really good for you. But make sure you understand to start shopping now. I mean, for yourself. I mean, start investing in better places and better things for yourself. Take yourself on a journey in terms of information because information is always fulfilling. You understand? Because that's how it is. So I understand right now in the room it's getting cold for some reason. I'm shaking for some reason. But the thing is that you have to always grow yourself. So now since I'm understanding that Germany is very soon coming up for me and stuff like that, I promise you it's going to be a new door for me. It's going to be something new. I promise you it's going to be my mum. I promise you my mum's in terms of life is information and stuff like that. So I have to communicate with her in the best way. But I'm a very good learner, and because I'm a very good learner, I understand that Marko Petanovic and his job, like for a teacher, I mean, he's a teacher today. I mean, I'm a teacher too. You understand? But the thing is that he gets a salary and he maybe makes $50,000 a year now and stuff like that. And what do I make? I make maybe $26,000 a year. You understand? Because I'm on disability support pension. So I'm getting money from the government and stuff like that, but he's not getting money from the government. You understand? But the thing is that once he gets kids and stuff like that, I promise you, then he gets money from the government and stuff like that. But there's no shame. First, there's no shame in that. But the thing is that people who have much more information have always a better way of life. And now I believe that in my life and in my sole degree of who I am, I have more information than anybody in the world. You understand? And why is that? Well, I mean, why do I say that? Because I understand something about life. I understand that there is always a way, and there's always no way for you to come true unless you are yourself. So if you understand that information comes from all sides of the story, and you have to understand that the thing is that the difference between me and Marko is I'm much more wiser, I'm much more aware, and I can do what he can do in terms of information. You know, so I can do what anybody's done in terms of information. And I'm understanding how easy it can be for me to go to university now, get a $200,000 debt, become a teacher, and then just live on that kind of way for me. I understand how that is. I understand I can do that. But the thing is that I'm going life differently. I'm doing life differently, and I'm going a different way for myself. And now everybody has to make a living. I understand that. But you cannot rely on the government all your life. You understand? But the thing is that I understand Marko Petanovic eventually is going to rely on the government for disability support pension in terms of he's going to get himself a pension, for example. So, in terms of money, I understand Marko Petanovic has money in his pocket. I understand that. And now I understand that he also has a passion for teaching people. I understand that, but he doesn't have a passion for teaching people on YouTube. You understand? And that's where he falls. I mean, he believes that he's just school education. I mean, just teaching people about high school. Do you understand? You don't teach just people about high school. You teach them about life. You understand? You teach people about understanding much more about finances and everything. But that's what schools don't teach you these days. They don't teach you how to invest your money. They don't teach you how to business your life. I mean, how to have a business. I mean, what they teach you in high school is just how to work a 9 to 5 job. And I mean, yes, I mean, that's what they teach you. So, for example, anything that I've learned in high school, anything that I've learned in high school is just a way of being a great person in terms of having a great attitude, okay? And that's what I've learned in high school, to have a great attitude and to always have good grades, you understand? Always be someone who has good grades, you understand? But the thing is that if my kids don't have good grades, I promise you they'll have good grades in life. I mean, you see, and that's the thing about things, about I can sit with my kids, I can talk to them for ages. And I can teach them everything about life. I can teach them exactly where they need to go throughout life. And now I understand I have my mum's support, I have my dad's support, I have a lot of support around me that I need. Do you understand? And now all I need is my support. You understand? I need nobody's support except for me and God. You understand? And that's what I have already. But the thing is that if I had kids today, I teach them a lot of things about life. I'm promise you, and I sit with them, I talk with them every single day. I, I help them in every single manner that I can in terms of information. Do you understand? I point them in the point of spiritual direction. I mean, you understand? And that's what my mom also can do, but she is unaware that she can do that. I mean, you understand? My mom doesn't believe she's a spiritual teacher. I mean, but she, in a way, is a spiritual teacher as well. I mean, everyone in life that you meet is a spiritual teacher, and now everyone can express their story to you, and everybody can teach you something about life. Do you understand? And that's the thing about life. So, when you're going through life, you have to be teaching. And the thing is that something amazing is happening in my life, and what's happening in my life is more information and more words and more things are coming true for myself. I mean, I exactly understand why I'm not a millionaire today. You understand? And the thing is that because I didn't pursue it. You understand? I didn't pursue being a millionaire. You understand? And that's the thing. That many people believe that you have to be a millionaire in terms of that you have to have $1 million in your pocket to be a millionaire. But the thing is that they are people who are unaware that you could be a millionaire and feel like a millionaire every single day of your life without having $1 million in your pocket. You understand? And that's the thing. So a lot of people are spreading a lot of information and scarcity out there, you understand, in terms of information. And they're spreading a lot of problems, you understand? And the thing is that you have to solve those problems for yourself in your life. And that's what I can do. I can solve all my problems, you understand? And that's the only thing that I understand that I'm true at. And I understand that is the meaning of life, where you can solve all your problems, you understand? Now, what problems do I have in life? I have no problems. I never have problems in my life, you understand? Because I'm very smart in terms of how I approach life and how I think and how things are going for me. And now, when I had the chance to be with a beautiful woman, I didn't take the opportunity, you understand? Because I was unaware. I didn't have that information that I do today. And I just wanted sex. Do you understand? I just wanted sex from them and nothing else. Because I was watching a lot of pornography, you understand? And because I was watching a lot of pornography, I went the way of prostitutes, I went the way of drugs, I went the way of criminality to some degree, you understand? And now, the most criminal thing that I ever found myself doing in life was when this guy had like one of those guns. I mean, it was like a shotgun. And we were walking in the darkness somewhere, and we were walking to kill somebody. And you must understand, me and my friend Milos Miletic and Billy Cambay, and we were just walking in the darkness to kill somebody. Do you understand? And I wasn't going to kill somebody. I was eventually going to take that shotgun from Billy Cambay, and I was going to try to save that guy. Do you understand? Because Billy Cambay wanted to kill him. You understand? And because we were walking, and now me and Billy Cambay had a fight. I mean, we were like mortal enemies. Do you understand? I mean, he was always causing problems with me and stuff like that. But suddenly, I found myself in his house because of Milos Miletic. And the thing is that he had a gun. He points to, like, he's showing me the gun and stuff. He's like, don't touch it. I mean, he's like, don't touch the gun because of the fingerprints and stuff like that. And the thing is that we started walking. He's like, do you want to go kill this guy? I'm like, I look at Milos Miletic. I'm like, let's do it. I'm like, let's do it. You understand? And I was very stupid because I found myself with Billy Cambay. You understand? That guy is like a criminal. You understand? And for example, we started walking. We started walking at night time over there. And I look at Milos Miletic and I'm like, bro, are you ready? I'm like, fuck. I mean, what's going to happen? I mean, what's going to happen here? And that was the most scariest moment of my life. Do you understand? Because the thing is that if that guy was there at that night, I promise you Billy Campbell would have shot him. And what I would have done, that if he shot that guy, I probably would have ran. I would have ran, you understand? And the police would have caught me out, you understand? And the thing is that I would have ended up in jail for the rest of my life. You understand? So the thing is that you never find yourself in those positions where a person shines a gun or has an illegal gun in the house and you find yourself going to kill somebody. Never go that way. Do you understand? Because that's my experience. Do you understand? So the thing is that lucky that guy was not there that night. Otherwise, he would have been dead. I mean, you understand? And the thing is that I would have done everything in my power not to kill that person. I would have got the gun off Billy Cambay. Do you understand? And I would have gave my life for that guy. Do you understand? So the thing is that I found much more peace after that. And the thing is that I found myself doing drugs. You have to understand, I was doing drugs. I remember one night I called this guy Boki, and he does illegal drug dealing and stuff like that. I called him. I said, I want some speed. I want some speed. And he came over, he gave me the speed, and he just left. And I found myself with like foil paper alone in a dark alleyway somewhere. And I'm like, is this what my life has come to? You understand? I just had a wake up call in that moment. I'm like, fuck, I have no friends by my side. I'm alone. I have drugs on me. I mean, the guy didn't even give me any kind of drug. I mean, he gave me some drugs. But the thing is that it was not enough. I mean, you have to understand it was like a little bit of drugs. You understand? I wasn't satisfied with the amount he gave me. I mean, I think he ripped me off and stuff like that. So I found myself. I was like, fuck, I've just been ripped off by Boki. You understand? I never called him ever again from that day. And I just found myself trying to do that speed. I found myself trying to sniff it and stuff like that in the car alone. And the thing is that I was not even high. I mean, it didn't even make me high at all. I didn't feel any effects from it. So the thing is that from that point forward, I had a life turn. I mean, something changed in my life. And I said to myself, never again will I do drugs. You understand? And then from that moment, I had that memory always in my life. And that's what bettered me. I mean, you understand? That's what helped me to overcome drugs in some kind of way. So the thing is that I found myself around those people. You understand? I found myself around those people who were doing illegal drugs and stuff like that. Like Pedro Milovanovic, Philip Trubilo. I mean, who else was doing drugs? I mean, you have to understand Boki. I mean, you have to understand I found myself around these people. I mean, and the thing is that you have to understand that these guys were my friends, you understand? But the thing is that also you have to understand that Boki was not some kind of friend to me. I mean, he was like a friend, but he's not a friend as well. You understand? He was just a drug dealer to me. And you have to understand that I found myself in rehab. I found myself in rehab and I found that no friends came to visit me. You understand? And that's where I had a life awakening as well. I'm like, who's my true friends in life? I mean, these guys are not even visiting me. I used to do drugs with them every day. You understand? And then my dad and Mira, Mira Kunyach, came and visited me daily over there at the rehab. Weekly, they were visiting me. I see my mum was nowhere to be seen. You understand? Because I remember the days where I was speaking to my mum and she was never there for me. You understand? I mean, she was there for me in terms of information, but she was also not there for me. Do you understand? Because she could never afford me. Do you understand? She could never afford me overseas because I didn't have papers. You understand? I didn't have the EU papers, and I still don't have the EU papers. But hopefully someday I get the EU papers to live in Germany and stuff like that with her. But the thing is that now, since my life is shaping, I'm shaping my life in a better way. I understand exactly my mistakes in life. I understand exactly how many mistakes I made. I made mistakes in terms of with women. I made mistakes with friends. I made mistakes with people. I made mistakes with myself. You understand? And I've learned from it. You understand? I've learned from it. And I'm much more mature about things now than I ever was. And that's what's shaped me in life. I promise you, it's just the information. And now, where did I get that information? I promise you, I got it from books. And if I didn't start reading books today, guys, I will not be where I am today. You have to understand that. So, reading 1 hour book, I mean, if you read a book one day, okay, and it's just, you just read for 1 hour, I promise you, it won't be something life changing as much as possible. I promise you, you may change your life just a bit, but that's it. But if you read constantly 1 hour every single day for the next 5 years, and then you see 5 years of your time has gone into reading, I promise you now, that's life changing because of the information that you've learned, that you've met new people. I mean, like Eckhart Tolle, I mean, Osho, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins. You've met new people. You've met people in life that are successful. And then you go that way. Do you understand? You go that way because do you know how afraid I was of information? I was so afraid. I remember when I picked my first book up. I mean, I picked it up and I read. I mean, my first book that I ever read, that I started reading, was the Bible of Jesus Christ. And that story, I love it. I love Jesus Christ so much. I love the story of Jesus Christ. You understand? And then I read the book, this key to study skills. I mean, this key to studying and the key to study skills and stuff like that. I started reading that book and stuff like that. And you have to understand, it took me in a new path, and I wasn't sure what I was going to get in terms of information. And that was the scary thing. I mean, that was so scary to me, that something else is going to conform me. Do you understand? That somebody is going to influence me. I mean, that's scary to me. Do you understand? I mean, that was so scary to me before, that somebody else is going to influence me now. You understand? Because I'm listening to them now. And because I got that information, slowly I I didn't understand everything that was said in the book, but I understood some things. I understood a bit by bit, do you understand? And then when I continued to read much more and more and more, I found myself being much more of a life coach. You understand? Because I was reading more books. And then I started to do videos. I started to do some videos. And then when I was doing videos, I found myself building confidence a bit. And this story about Tina Chupic, for example, I was like, I just want to make her happy. You understand? I want to be a life coach so I can make her happy. You understand? And the thing is that it didn't go that way. You understand? But the thing is, you have to understand that I had a dream, like, to be with her in my life, to marry her and stuff like that, because she was so beautiful. You understand? And she's still so beautiful and everything today, but I don't dream that way anymore. I don't dream to be with her. Do you understand? Because she cannot make me happy. Do you understand? So she has somebody anyway. But the thing is that it's more like I started life coaching. And because I started life coaching, I stopped for 2 years. I stopped for 2 years life coaching. I stopped even doing music production. And what was I doing in that time? I was just reading. Nothing else. I was just reading. And luckily I didn't stop reading. I kept on reading. I understand I was obese at this stage. I was doing illegal drugs still. You understand? And I was smoking cigarettes and doing caffeine. And I found myself in rehab again. So this is the second time round. And then, for example, I had another awakening, and I said, my friends are not visiting me again. You understand? Nobody's visiting me. I mean, where are my friends? You understand? But by this time, I got smarter. I got smarter because of the books I read. So what I done was I started, at one point, I just left my dad. I left my dad. And there's a gap of time here in terms of life where I was doing nothing except for reading. You understand? And I was playing poker here and there. And then what happened was I started to pick up in terms of things, and I left my dad. I left the house. I took off my vision board from my dad's house because I had all these images posted on the wall of my dream and what I want to achieve and stuff like that. And then I picked up everything from my room. I put it in the car, and I just left my dad. I left my dad, and that was the scariest moment of my life. Do you know why it was so scary for me to leave my dad at that stage? Because I never left him. I never went out to rent an apartment for myself at this stage. So what I did, the first thing I done was I went to housing commission over there. I went to the housing department, and I went to get myself a house. I went to get myself somewhere to live. You understand? That was so scary. I didn't know exactly where I was going. I didn't know what they're gonna give me. Do you understand? So the thing is that, do you know how scary that was to just leave my dad at that point? I mean, it was so scary. Like the first time you leave your parents and you start living for yourself, you start living alone without your parents. You understand? That's where I was, and I was so afraid. You understand? I wasn't smoking cigarettes at this stage. I mean, I was a vegan at this stage. You understand? I was vegan at this stage, and I wasn't smoking cigarettes. I wasn't doing drugs. You understand? And I was not on medication. And I left my dad for the first time, and I said goodbye. And I just went, and I had I had a car full of stuff. You understand? And I said to myself, I have to minimize all this stuff. I have to become minimal. And not minimize, but I have to become minimal. I have to start being simplistic. I have to start being simplistic about what I want to keep in the car and what I want to throw out. So I threw out all my wrestling DVDs. I threw out a lot of shit. Yes, a lot of shit that I didn't need. And I went to housing commission, and I slowly, like, I'm like thinking, what do I do? I have to go housing commission to get a house, to get myself somewhere to live. So I went over there, and they gave me somewhere to live for a few nights. and I was doing good here and there. And then I had to go again to Housing Commission to get another extra 7 nights or something like that. And they gave me another 7 nights. And then from that point, they said, you have to find somewhere else to live. I mean, you have to find your own thing and you have to pay rent. I mean, they told me you have to pay rent. Do you understand? So they paid for like 9 days of my accommodation. And that was the first 9 days without my dad, without living with my dad. And my dad didn't call me in these stages and stuff like that. I slept in the car for 2 days. Do you understand? I slept homelessly on the street in my car for 2 days. And that was scary for me. I mean, you have to understand, I was living on my own. I didn't know what to do. You understand? I never went traveling without my parents. You understand? And now I did go traveling without my parents, but not like this. Not like finding my own accommodation somewhere and stuff like that. So my mum sent me $400. She sent me $400. And I said to myself, if I don't use this $400 right now to live somewhere for a week, then I'm going to be on the street for a week. You understand? So what I done with my mum's $400, and she doesn't know this, I invested that $400 into an apartment somewhere in Meadowsbank, and I went to Meadowsbank over here in Gladesville Ride in Sydney, and it was $230 a week. I gave $400. I gave $400, and I stayed there for 2 weeks. You understand? And then I had somewhere to live for 2 weeks, and then I was receiving government support from that stage on, and then I was nice and beautifully, let's say, accommodated for a month. Do you understand? Because I had some money in my pocket. And then I found myself in Eastwood. Do you understand? I went to Eastwood because of what happened at Meadowsbank, because I was renting at Meadowsbank. And the thing that happened was the owner over there wanted all the renters to go out of the house and not to rent over there anymore because of the manager, and the manager wasn't doing a good enough job. So the person that was a landlord over there and the person who owns the building wants all the renters and everyone that's in the houses over there to get out of the house and to evacuate. So I found myself over here. I spoke to the woman, the manager. I said, do you know anywhere I can live? And I asked her, do you know anywhere that I can go and live on my own, some kind of apartment or something like that I can rent for myself since I'm leaving? And she said, there's a place in Eastwood and it's $155 a week. And that was $80 much more affordable. So it was $80 cheaper to live over there. So it was $230 a week to live at Meadowsbank, but at Eastwood it's $155 a week. So I said, please, I want to go over there. So I went over there and I started living on my own. And that's where I started to life coach again. I started to life coach here. And for the first time in my life, I'm living on my own in a six bedroom house deal where I have 6 roommates. I have 6 roommates in the house. And we're all using the same kitchen and we're all using the same toilet, but the bedroom we're using for ourselves. You understand? Everyone has their own bedroom. And I had some space there and stuff like that for my house in terms of for my stuff. And I was living on my own in Eastwood for about 3 months. You understand? And I felt really good. I was like, wow. I mean, it feels good to live alone without my dad, without that toxic nature of my dad and stuff like that. So after 3 months, I started putting stuff on the walls, like I want to be a millionaire, I want to do this. I put my nice and beautiful mentors up on the wall and stuff like that, and I idolize these people. Do you understand? I put Jesus Christ as well there, and you have to understand that it's much more like from this point on, I started doing Snapchat, I started doing YouTube, I started doing life coaching. I started doing little second videos, like for example 15-second videos, posted to Snapchat, posted to YouTube, stuff like that. I made some episodes. I made like 500 episodes. I posted on YouTube and stuff like that. And then I said to myself, I have $1,300 in my pocket. I want to go to Melbourne for the weekend. I want to go to Melbourne for the weekend because I've never been to Melbourne. I want to go to Melbourne for a bit. So I said, I picked up my stuff. I went by bus over there to Melbourne. From Sydney to Melbourne, I went by bus. And I said to myself, I'm just going to stay for the weekend. And what happened was the weekend came and it passed. And I said to myself, I want to stay another week. And then I had some problems with the landlord, and he said I owe rent and stuff like that. And that's when I said to myself, I'm not coming back to Sydney, Australia. I'm gonna stay in Melbourne. So I left him. I left the whole renting place and everything. I left everything that I picked up all my stuff and everything, and I just left. And I said to myself, I'm not coming back. And the landlord was giving me, like, he wanted some rent for the apartment. I said I don't owe him anything. And the thing is that he said, you owe me $155 for rent. And he said, do you have 3 month contract over here to live still? And I said to myself, no, I left that place. So the landlord over there put me on a contract to live there for 6 months, but I lived there for 3 months, and I had to pay the overdue. You know, so I had to pay 3 months of rent, and I said to myself, no, I don't want to pay that. So he said to me to just pay the $155 for the week, and then I could leave it square finish, and then I don't have to live in Sydney anymore. So I gave him $155, and he never contacted me again. You understand? So I left that place, and I sort of fucked him up. You understand? I fucked him up, but I helped myself in this position to move away from Sydney altogether. And then I found myself in Melbourne. I was traveling, and I went night clubbing. I went to Crown Casino over there in Melbourne, and I found myself in the best spot, in the best position on my own, renting on my own and stuff like that. I didn't know what to expect. You know? So I didn't know what to expect exactly because I was traveling on my own, and it's the first time I've been in Melbourne. And that time I stayed in Melbourne for 2 months, and I was renting at a hostel over here. I was going to different hostels and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, I remember people were in my room. I was like, it's a new day. I'm like, let's go out in Melbourne. Let's go walk around in Melbourne. It's a new day. I mean, wow, I wasn't working a 9 to 5 job, and I was receiving government support as well. And then suddenly, these people from the agency that want me to work, they keep calling me because if I don't go to them, they're going to stop my payment. They're going to stop my government allowance. So I went to them and I said, I'm moving. I'm moving somewhere else. I'm going somewhere else. You understand? And then they shut it down for a bit. And then I just left Melbourne. I went to Adelaide by bus from Melbourne. And then I came to Adelaide for the first time. And you have to understand how good of a time I had in Melbourne on my own. It was the first experience of my life to travel on my own somewhere. And then you have to understand that when I came to Adelaide, I was like, wow, new place again, new place, new people. I mean, new hostel members and everything like that. And you have to understand how many teenagers and people in their 20s and 30s travel to hostels and stuff like that to travel and stuff like that. And then I had a great experience there. And then I went to Brisbane. And then from Brisbane, again, I found myself in a new position, and I have background knowledge here now that I've traveled for at least 3 months, 4 months now of my life around Australia on my own. And then slowly I just went around Australia like this from this point. And I did it all on my own. You know, so I did it all on my own. And do you know how amazing I feel now that I went around Australia? I went to Hobart, I went to Melbourne, I went to Brisbane, I went to Darwin, I went to Alice Springs. I seen Ayers Rock on my own. And do you know how scary it was for me to drive from Alice Springs to Darwin on my own? Because imagine the car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, and I have no petrol, and I have no signal to call anybody. I mean, what can I do? You understand? All I can do is sit on the street and just hope for somebody to come past. So it was scary for me, but the thing is that I got to experience the Ayers Rock on my own. You understand? I went on my own and I drove there. And I rented a car over there. I rented a car for $400 for 2 nights. You understand? For 2 days. And I just went. And the Ayers Rock is for free. To see the Ayers Rock, you can do it for free. But I chose to go alone instead of to go by tourism bus. And by then, you have to understand that the tourism was down. You understand, because of the coronavirus period. So anyway, I went around Australia. I seen Perth. I seen Sunshine Coast. I went everywhere around Australia. You have to understand that the only places I haven't been in Australia until now is Launceston and Devonport. I didn't go Kangaroo Island. I didn't go Great Barrier Reef. I didn't go Phillips Island. You understand? And I didn't go to Queens Point. I mean, these places I didn't go yet. But the thing is that I've been around most of Australia, and I did it with the government's allowance. You understand? I did it with the government's allowance behind the police back. I did it behind everyone's back. Do you understand? because that's the only way you can travel on the government allowance these days. And what I done was each and every single time they told me that I have to work, I told them I'm moving to a different place after 2 weeks. Do you understand? So, for example, if you're someone who's trying to hire me to work and stuff like that, then what I do is I say to you, I'm moving to Tasmania in 2 weeks. So what's the point of me working? They're like, okay, when you go to Tasmania, go to Centrelink and just transfer your address and stuff like that. And from that point, just get yourself set up in an agency over there. And I said, yeah, no worries. And that's what I done, you understand? And then I started traveling around Australia, and it's so beautiful because do you know? I mean, do you know how I can live on my own now, for example, and it's not scary for me to do so anymore. It's not scary for me to travel around Australia anymore on my own. I mean, I've done it before, and I understand what to expect. You understand? But before, I understand. I remember myself in Sydney, Australia, in the couch and on the couch, and I was just reading. I was just reading. I wasn't traveling anywhere. You understand? I wasn't traveling anywhere. I was a smoker. I was drinking caffeine. I was on the illegal drugs. I never left my dad's house to live on my own. Do you know how scary it was for me to start reading? First of all, it was so scary for me to start even reading something. I mean, I never read a book in my life. Imagine reading a book. Do you know how scary it was for me to read a book? I was so afraid to read a book. And then I was so afraid to leave my dad's home to go live on my own. And then I was so afraid to start YouTubing and to start life coaching on my own. You understand? To start life coaching. You understand? And then I was so afraid to go around Australia alone. You understand? But the thing is, you must understand that things started to unlock in my life. And you have to understand how afraid I was traveling. I was very afraid. You understand? But the thing is that because I traveled and I traveled more, and because I left my dad's house, and because I started reading more and more material and more information, things shaped me. And you have to understand how much of a greater person I am because of all the traveling I've done, and because of all the reading I've done, and because I left my dad's parents and my dad's house and stuff like that to live on my own. You understand? And the thing is now, I understand exactly what to expect. I understand exactly what that situation embarks on. You understand? Because I understand now I can leave my dad's house. I can go live alone somewhere, and it's no worries. I can go live in the hostel. I can go live on my own. Do you understand? And it's not scary for me anymore to live on my own because I've done it for 1 year and 8 months around Australia without my parents. And it's not scary for me to travel anymore either. I mean, I can travel and it's very easy to travel. Do you understand? Because I can get myself places and stuff like that. And you have to understand when I started using these websites like applications like Hostel World and Booking.com, I started booking my hostels over there and I started looking for more affordable prices and ways to travel and stuff like that. And I want to go to New Zealand, for example. I want to travel to New Zealand sometime, maybe next year I'll go to New Zealand, depending on my mum and what she wants out of my life. So it's either I'll go to my mum to see my mum, or I'll go to New Zealand, for example, for 1 month and just travel for a bit. And I can travel to New Zealand, see New Zealand for myself and stuff like that. So it just depends. I'm going to see what's going to happen. But first of all, I'm understanding I'd rather go travel Australia first. I'd rather travel Australia first than go to New Zealand. You understand? But it just depends. It depends what I want out of my life. You understand? So there's an opportunity for me to travel, and there's an opportunity for me to be my better version again. You understand? And that's a good thing about it. So the thing is now, since I've learned all this stuff, and since I've learned a lot on my journey. Do you understand? And you have to understand, I've traveled more than my friends. I've done more words and more information than my friends. I've reached my best version more than my friends have. You understand? So that's something that is new for me. That I've reached my best version. Do you understand? My best version. I understand how it is to be a vegan for 3 years. I mean, they've never done that. Do you understand? They've never done that. I've been a vegan for 3 years of my life, and I reached my best version like that. And I'm somebody who understands how it is to be a best version and stuff like that, and understand the differences now in terms of my life now and how it was. And the differences is that I understand exactly how much energy I had before and how much energy I have now to do my work and to love life and to see. So that's the interesting part. Do you understand? But do I want to go around Australia? where I've been. No, I don't want to go to the places I've been. I want to go somewhere different. You understand? And now when I travel around Australia, when I travel on my own around Australia from this point forward, I'm just going to travel on the nice and beautiful allowance of the Australian. And I'm going to see the whole Australia. I'm going to see the whole Australia on my own. You understand? And there's a better time coming. I mean, you understand? There's a better time for traveling and stuff like that. And my mum's going to be pissed off at me. And she's going to be really angry at me. Do you understand? Because she wants me to work a 9 to 5 job. But the thing is that what I can do now is I can travel the same way I have around Australia, and also be a non-smoker and be someone who is my best version, traveling around Australia, doing my fashion photos again, and making sure that I'm just doing my best job for myself. So it's nice to talk about it. It's nice to give you my life story. You understand? So now I'm understanding exactly how it is to leave my parents' house and to go and live on my own. You understand? I'm not afraid now. I done it for myself. I done it for 1 year and 8 months. I think that's enough experience for me to be able to live alone for myself. Do you understand? Without my parents. So that's an amazing thing. And I done it while traveling around Australia. Do you understand? On the government's allowance. So the thing is that I wasn't meant to do that. And like if they find out, they can throw me in jail for that. Do you understand? Because a government allowance is designed for you to work a 9 to 5 job. Do you understand? And not to travel around Australia. But I was traveling around Australia with their money. You understand? And that's how I bought myself freedom. And I'm understanding that Jesus Christ will do the same thing. You understand? Jesus Christ would go around Australia using the government's money all day long. Do you understand? So I found a way to be able to travel around Australia on my own again and again and again, and being able to live my life this way. And I'm understanding that better things are coming for me when I'm going to travel around Australia. But now I'm just saving money to go to my mum's house to see my mum for a bit. You understand? So every single year I want to travel somewhere. So if I don't go next year to my mum's house, I'm going to go New Zealand. I mean, understand? I'm gonna actually go either New Zealand, or shall I go the more affordable route? And I'd rather go the more affordable route. So I'd rather go Launceston or something like that, or Port Lincoln in Adelaide or whatever it is, and just travel a bit. You understand? On my own. You understand? Because it's a nice, beautiful thing to do for myself. So when I travel, I'm going to be there for a week. I'm going to do my life coaching again and again and again, and do things on my own again and again. That's exciting times for me. You understand? And I'm going to be away from my dad. I'm going to be away from my family, and that's a good thing. You understand? That's a good thing to be away from them. So the thing is that better times are coming for me in my life. And then eventually, when I go to my mum's house and I get the papers and everything, I'm going to travel Europe. I'm going to travel Europe a bit. I'm going to go Amsterdam. I'm going to go Dubrovnik. I'm going to go places with my mum, for example. So that's amazing as well. You understand? So the thing is, right now, I'm going to write a message to my mum. I'm just going to plead with her to just let me be vegan, you understand, and stuff like that. So that I help myself to do better and stuff like that. So I'm understanding that I don't want to argue with anybody, you understand, but I want to do my life the way I do it, you understand, the way I live life. So anyway, guys, I understand that my life is a life story, you understand, and because I express myself in a nice and beautiful way. And what else? I mean, you have to understand that I'm not hanging around with those people from the past anymore. And those people from the past are all going their separate ways, and I'm not hanging around with them anymore because I've learned something. I've learned you cannot be around those people. Do you understand? And why is that? Because they're not your type of people. You understand? They're not your type of people. You understand? I mean, they're people that are going with other people and everything, but it's not something that you need in your life. Do you understand? You don't need them. And because I don't need them in my life, you understand? I don't contact them anymore. I've learned something. I've grown. I'm matured now. You understand? I don't go where they go. I don't find myself in those positions where they are. And I'm much more happy. I'm much more peaceful with myself because I don't go where they go. And I'm not seeking their attention anymore. You understand? I'm not seeking for them to love me. I'm not seeking for them to give me attention. I'm not seeking them in life anymore. You understand? I've moved on. I've moved on with my life. I'm doing things on my own now. Do you understand? And that's the thing about my life. I understand new ways now. Because I've done this audio program, I see exactly where I want to go and what I'm going to do and what's going to happen in my life. You understand? So new things are happening in my life. And that's how it's going to be. So now, since I'm at home, I just stay at home. I relax. I just enjoy it. Go the most affordable route for now. You understand? But there's plenty of traveling happening in my life. You understand? And now it's going to be 3 months going overseas and stuff like that. I'm going to be on disability support pension and stuff like that. So I'm getting life on my terms. You understand? And life is always going to be on my terms and conditions, and not on other people's terms and conditions. Do you understand? Because it's always going to be my life and what I need to do. I understand. So you see, guys, that what's going to happen in my life is going to be for the better good now. So I'm understanding exactly how much barriers I broke. For example, I understand my mother left Australia when I was 8, and she was just 28 years of age when she went to Germany. For example, so she went back to Mostar. She went to Bosnia Herzegovina, stayed with her family and stuff like that, and went alone throughout life. And I understand that. So the thing is that I went a different road. I traveled more than my mum in Australia. My mum's never seen Perth. My mum's never seen Hobart. I mean, she never seen Darwin. I mean, she never seen Ayers Rock in her life. I mean, she never went to Mooloolaba Beach in Australia. I mean, that beach is so beautiful, you have to understand. I mean, she's never been Nelson's Bay. I've been to Nelson's Bay. I've been to Port Stephens. I went to Port Stephens. I went to Newcastle. And that was a new time in my life as well. And you have to understand how traveling is. I mean, you have to be fit for it. Yes, and you have to be really physically fit for traveling. Do you understand? So the thing is that it's much more how beautiful my life is when I look at it like that. When I see that I've been to those places. Do you understand? I've been to those places and that I lived that and that I dreamt of that. Do you understand? I mean, it was always my dream to go to Melbourne, for example. I mean, you have to understand how many times I went to Melbourne with my dance crew. I went maybe a few times with my dance crew, and I used to do folkloric stuff with Serbian dancing and stuff like that. And we went to Melbourne, but I never got to see Melbourne. Do you understand? And, well, things were closed for me in that perspective. You understand? But I got to experience being around the crowd. You understand? Stuff like that. And you have to understand, I was family with those people. You understand? Because we were so tight. I mean, we were very close and tight with each other. And now when I look at these people, I mean, everyone's going their own ways and things, and people getting married and people having kids and stuff like that. And people go their own ways, and you have to understand that. The thing is that now if I find myself alone, you have to understand I'm going to travel. Do you know how much I'm going to travel alone? I mean, there's plenty of time for me to travel everywhere alone. Do you understand? So there's a whole life ahead of me. You have to understand, I'm just turning 30 years of age now on May 28th of 2022, and it's only 15th of May now. So what is that date anyway? I mean, let me just check. So it's the 16th of May. I mean, it's the 16th of May, and I'm turning 28 in about 12 days time. I mean, I'm turning 30 in 12 days time. I'm turning 30 in 12 days time. You understand? So things are happening in my life now. I mean, you have to understand that things are different. I'm shaping my life in a different way, and that's a good thing. I mean, the thing is now, since I find myself alone in the house and stuff like that, I don't see much happening in my life other than life coaching and my passions. And my passions are always helping themselves and stuff like that. I'm helping myself to do better. But while you travel Australia and stuff like that, you have to understand to go the most affordable route. I mean, go the most affordable way. I mean, if it costs you $2,000 to get to Australia, but it costs you $150 to get to Spain, go to Spain first. I mean, you understand? I mean, go the most affordable way. But you have to understand how people come to Australia to live in Australia. Do you understand? And that's the thing. I mean, it's a hard life that they live because they have to work a 9 to 5 job and they have to do things and get the papers for Australia and stuff like that. You understand? So, do you know how scary it was for me? I mean, it was so scary for me to read a book. I mean, it was so scary for me to leave my dad. You understand? I was so tight with them. I mean, I was so tight with him. Like, I was always with him. And I just said to myself, let's just go. I mean, let's just leave him. Do you understand? I mean, let's just go see life. I mean, let's go see how it feels to live life on my own, for example. And now, if I go and leave my dad again, I promise you, it's much more. I go to the Q Space Hotel, or go to a hostel somewhere, or somewhere like that. I mean, you understand? But that's how it is. I'd rather go and live in a hostel now. I mean, it's much more how it is. You understand? I mean, where would I rather go? Q Space Hotel, or should I go to the hostel? You know what? I'd rather go to a hostel. I'd rather go to a hostel, live with other people, and stuff like that. Do my work and stuff like that. I mean, it's much more affordable and as well as and stuff like that. It's much more affordable. You understand? So I'll go to most affordable way, and I live my life on my own. And if I travel now anywhere, I don't bring the speaker. I don't bring my speaker because it's too much weight. And I understand over there in Australia, when I was traveling from, where was I traveling from? Adelaide to Sydney. I mean, wow, you have to understand, I paid like $210 to bring an extra 5 kilos on the plane. You understand? So that left me like broke. You understand? But the thing is that I learned a lot. You understand? I learned a lot of things, and you have to understand now. Since I'm different, I'm always traveling with experience now. I have much more experience on how to travel. You understand? But my mom doesn't understand this. I promise you, nobody's gonna understand you more than you are yourself, and you have to understand that. So the thing is that lots of things are happening in life, and lots of things are different. And I listen to my mum a lot of the time. I listen to my mum. But the thing is that she's not right about it. I mean, she's not wrong about it either. But she just wants me to save money, and she wants me not to be a vegan. Do you understand? And nothing else. You understand? But the thing is that I'm gonna convince her that I want to be a vegan. You understand? And then I have to live that. I have to live that dream for myself. You understand? It's very easy to do. You understand? So now I'm understanding that I've seen most of Australia. I mean, now it's much more like travel a bit more and then settle down in one place eventually. I have to settle down somewhere and I have to start the work life. You understand? I have to start working 9 to 5 job eventually, because that's going to be another phase in my life. I mean, it's going to be something different where I'm going to a 9 to 5 job and I'm working, I'm making my own money and being single and stuff like that. And that's going to be a phase. And then I have a phase where I'm a father. I'm a father to one kid, maybe 2 kids, 3 kids, maybe, I'm not sure. But the thing is, the more kids you have, the more you have to settle in one place. Do you understand? You have to do what's most affordable for yourself. So if I want to search for a girl or something like that, I promise you, just let the universe decide for me, and that's it. I promise you, it's much more how I rather make the universe serve out for me in this kind of way rather than me chasing women. I promise you, it's much more that the woman chases me and stuff like that, and then just go from there. I promise you, I understand that I'm much more mature with women now. I don't chase them. I talk to them naturally. I don't try to get in their pants. I don't try to have sex with them and stuff like that. You understand? Probably it's not about sex for me. Probably it's more about having a kid now. Probably it's more sex after marriage now. Do you understand? More about delayed gratification and stuff like that. And just go my own way as much as possible now. And what else? I mean, you have to understand that since I went around Australia, now I have much more experience. I mean, wow. I mean, the things I experienced around Australia is just a one-time thing. Do you understand? I mean, it's just one time. I mean, wow. But the things that I experienced is just amazing. I mean, I went Cairns. I mean, I had a hard time there in Cairns. I had a really difficult time. I was exercising in the pool for a bit. I mean, I understand that. I was building my emotions and stuff like that. I was watching people. I was doing things. And I went to Darwin. I mean, that was a beautiful place as well. I went all over Darwin, everywhere. And I seen Darwin. I seen a lot of places around Australia. And I've seen a lot of images around Australia. And that's a good thing. I mean, when you travel alone, I mean, I'm going to tell my mum one day, I'm going to be like, hey, mum, I'm just going to go travel now. I'm just going to go travel. I mean, you cannot stop me. And then I'm going to go alone. You understand? And I'm just going to go alone somewhere. I'm just going to go travel on my own. And when I travel on my own, it's just going to be for myself to go even around other people, like hostels and stuff like that, and just stay for a week. I mean, just stay for a week and stuff like that. It's not going to be a problem. But what I want to experience is Bali. I want to go Bali. Yes, I want to go to Bali. I want to see Bali. I want to see Indonesia. I want to see a lot of places. I want to go. You understand? And I'm still young to go, but I want to go alone. I want to go to. I want to go. I want to go live life alone. I don't want to go with my family. Do you understand? I don't want to go with my mum. I want to go somewhere alone with myself, to travel alone. Do you understand? I don't want to be so stuck to my mum. Do you understand? So when I go to Singapore, I visit Singapore on my own. I do things on my own, stuff like that. Just go and visit stuff and go be on my own much more. I mean, that's going to be the life. You understand? I mean, that's a possibility. And I mean, if I didn't go to my mum this year, or if I wasn't traveling to my mum this year, I promise you what I'd do is I'll go Launceston right now. I'll go to Launceston right now. I'd leave my dad right now. You understand? I'd just go travel as much as possible right now, and then come back to Australia just to get my injection. And what I'd say to the doctor is, give me a 3-month injection or something like that. I'd say, give me a 3-month injection and stuff like that, so that I can travel. You understand? And we'll see what happens. But it's much more how it is. I mean, I do my own life. I do things on my own and stuff like that. The thing is that things can work out for me and stuff like that. So it's much more how it is. So I understand that there is an option for me to ask the doctor to give me a 3-month injection so that I can travel around Australia for a bit and then see him for the first time, and then from that point just help myself in whatever manner that I can. So I help myself grow and stuff like that. And it's much more how it is. I mean, you understand, but that's an option for me to do so. And I don't have to work a 9 to 5 job. You understand, I can go see whatever I want to see. And now my mum may be against that. I understand she may be against me traveling in Australia all my life. I understand that. She said also that one day you can go and stuff like that. So it's much more how she wants me to travel and stuff like that. So it's much more how I can see Auckland on my own. I can go Auckland, go Churchill over there, and nice and beautiful New Zealand. Just travel. I mean, just travel somewhere. You understand? Just go on my own. See things, experience people, see new places, love my life. Just walk around. You understand? Just walk around while I'm young. You understand? And that's what you need to do. You have to experience life. I promise you, if I didn't go around Australia, I wouldn't have seen that much. You understand? I wouldn't have experienced that much. I wouldn't have experienced how it feels to be without my dad and without my mum for a bit. You understand? I would have been stuck at home. I would have been stuck at home working a 9 to 5 job rather than traveling Australia. And that's the thing. I made sure to go around Australia. I made sure to experience life to the best degree that I could. You understand? So things are different now. I'm understanding the exact pace I have to pick up. I have to pick up on things. I mean, eventually stuff is going to happen. I'm going to be able to travel Australia again. I promise you, I'm going to go Australia to travel. And that time when I travel Australia is more when I get off the disability support pension. Once I get off the disability support pension, that's when I'm going to go travel. I'm going to go travel for a bit. You understand? And I'm going to go Launceston and Devonport. And I'm just going to be there for a week with both of them. I mean, I'm going to be in Launceston for maybe 2 days, 3 days. And then I'm going to go Devonport for 2-3 days. Just see the area. I mean, just see what's happening there, what's going on in that place. And then just travel to Adelaide, go Adelaide quickly, just go to Kangaroo Island for a bit, see it for a bit, see that space of time just for 2-3 days. And that's it. I mean, it's more enough. I mean, yes, and then travel to Melbourne. I travel to Melbourne, I get a bus to go to Phillips Island, and that's going to be nice. I mean, go by bus and stuff like that, travel for a bit, do my own passions, do my thing, just for a bit of time. And then the more I travel, the better. I mean, you have to understand that the thing is that eventually I'm just going to be moving around Australia, and the thing is, you have to understand that the government and the police don't understand that I've been going for free and that I've been doing it for free. And I don't want to let them know that. Do you understand? I don't want to put myself in jail. Do you understand? But the thing is that now, since you guys know that I've been not scamming the government, I mean, the government's scamming people. I mean, they're scamming, I mean, scams are going everywhere. Do you understand? But the thing is that information can never scam you. You understand? So the thing is that what's happening in my life is much more traveling now. I'm going to be able to travel more. I'm going to be able to live my life and stuff like that. But for now, I'm just stuck in my dad's house for a bit. But it's more where I need to be at the moment. I need to be with my dad for a bit. You understand? And I need to be able to save money and stuff like that. But eventually, when I'm my best version again, once I'm my best version again, I understand from that point on, it's going to be much more traveling again. It's going to be much more of a road for me and stuff like that. And then eventually it's not going to be so much about traveling any more places. But then it's going to be just settle in one place and have kids and stuff like that and do that for myself. You understand? Just in one area. I understand that's going to be another phase of my life. And if it's not, then it's just going to be for me. I'm going to have money. I'm going to travel alone then. And then eventually I'm just going to settle in one place and just do my passions just like here. Yes, and just the same thing I'm doing here is what I'm going to be doing in that space of time as well. And that's going to be different for me. And it's just going to be different, do you understand? Because eventually you're not going to have energy to travel as much anymore. So you're going to have money and you're going to have enough for yourself to live and stuff like that. And just settle in one place, play some poker somewhere, get out and about, go for a movie and stuff like that. If you're single, just be alone, understand, and just live your life. And that's how it's going to be. So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have enjoyed my audio program over here. I understand I had some fun expressing myself in this audio program. I've explained some things about my life in this audio program as well. And I hope that you guys have learned from something. But you have to understand that it's just the way it is. So anyway, guys, see you guys in the next audio program. You see, guys, my dad is so ungrateful. I mean, you have to understand that when you give him money, I promise you, he says thank you. And after a few hours, he calls you junkie, he calls you all these names. I mean, he calls you dickhead, asshole, stupid. You understand? my dad never had a mouth of positivity in his life. Do you understand? I promise you, he has. Sometimes he says good things about you, but sometimes he just says it to your face and he just says, you're a junkie, you're nothing, you're nothing. I mean, do you understand? I mean, just put you down. You understand? He tries to shame you through words and stuff like that. So what you do with these people is just make sure you never listen to them and try to be better than them in everything that you do. Do you understand? Try to have a better attitude regardless. Never put your kids down. Never try to say to them that they're bullshit or that they're stupid or that they're a junkie or something like that, because it's very, very not nice. You understand? It's not nice to say. And you have to understand that you have to be a nice person in life. So that's my dad, and you have to understand that it's much more how he's not my real dad. I realize my real dad is the heavenly God. You understand? But the thing is, every single day of my life, I'm doing something different now. I'm learning, I'm growing, and let it be. I think that's more enough for this audio program. I think it's much more how I do my life. I realize now I want to do some Netflix or something like that for myself. I realize I quit smoking cigarettes and caffeine, and I am now doing better in terms of life, but it's just the way it is. So anyway, guys, see you very soon. So anyway, guys, I'm just testing something here. I'm just watching this guy do his work. So let's have a look over here. I see he's playing back his track over here, and I'm just over here documenting my thoughts so I can do better. But that's how it is. And if you really grow yourself, you'll find things to do and you always learn, and that's how you always see life for yourself. But you have to always progress forward. You have to understand that there's always a way to move forward. So always understand what's going on with everything that's happening so that you develop yourself in the best way, and that's what you need to do. So you have to understand it's much more about living life to the fullest. So let's see.